For most of us, dirt racing isn't just something we do for fun. It's a part of who we are. For 5 whole months, we're forced to make do without it. And trust me when I say we feel your pain. Come April, the gates will swing open and all will be right with the world again. Until then, we'll just have to talk about it. We're visiting some of the people who've had the biggest impact on dirt racing in Kentucky. We'll hear their stories and discuss the past, present, and future of our sport with the ones who know it best. This is the Road to Race Day on Dirt Racing in the Bluegrass Live, presented by Bluegrass Restoration and Construction.
I'm all tangled up here to start. Well, welcome into another episode of Dirt Racing in the Bluegrass Live. As we continue with our second episode here, Wes, with the Road to Race Day. April will be here soon, and we'll be at the dirt track, and it'll be even better. But until then, we're going to have some conversations with some folks here in our sport here locally in Kentucky that have had a big impact for several years. And first episode was a lot of fun. I know this one here will be too. We're at Graphic Impressions today, road tripping
in the mountains of eastern Kentucky.
Yeah.
Bulin, Kentucky.
Yeah, I've never been. I'll be honest. I've never been to. Is it Bulin? Is it?
Well, it's Bulin if we pronounce it. It's Bulon if anybody else does.
Okay,
Bulon.
Bulon.
That's the fancy version.
Yeah.
Bulon.
Yeah, that's a salesman calling.
Yeah, you know it's a salesman
Yeah.
when they don't know how to pronounce the name of the town for sure. So, I do want to mention real quick our sponsors, man. We've had this year, we decided to change up how we do sponsors here on the podcast, and just really excited about being able to partner with some local businesses here in the area. And, I've always said, I want to make sure that we're not taking anything away from the sport or anybody, but we're giving back to it. And so we want to be able to do this in a way that can really be beneficial to the people that partner with us. So this is our podcast is presented by Bluegrass Restoration and Construction. For all your home restoration construction needs, contact Tony Lowry and Chris Lowry and the whole gang over there in Richmond. They can take care of you. If it has something to do with a home, a building, they can take care of it. So Wilson Plumbing, this is a Wilson Plumbing studio. Some of these things we're not going to be doing the hotline or any of that stuff tonight, but I do want to mention them here real quick. Wilson Plumbing Studio, we certainly appreciate our buddy Robbie coming on board with us this year. It means a whole lot to us. It really does.
Yeah, it does. We've definitely got your construction and plumbing needs with our sponsors, and we definitely appreciate all of them.
Yeah, we certainly do. We've also got the Absolute Seamless Gutters hotline here, so we appreciate them as well. The guest segment this year is sponsored by Fast Track Plumbing. Like Wes said, if it comes to home repair, anything to do with the home, we've got you taken care of here on the podcast. Our driver of the week, once we get rolling with the regular season, is going to be brought to you by Wayne's Auto Repair. Keltner Contracting will be the Weekend Outlook sponsor as we talk about racing events coming up for the next weekend. Until April, we ain't got many of them going on, at least around home here. But we've also got the Dirtman Diecast Steak Dinner Pick'em Challenge again this year. Wes is going to try to take the title back this 2024 season. And, of course, we're here at Graphic Impressions. Graphic Impressions is the official apparel supplier of Dirt Racing in the Bluegrass Live. And you can see we've got these I'm excited about these T-shirts this year.
Hot off the press.
Yeah.
Let's see. You got these done, what? Friday,
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
I mean, hot off the press. Look at them pretty shirts. Got our sponsors on the
We're
back.
very proud to be just involved with what you all do, and I think it's important. Racing with money and everything, it's tough right now.
Yeah.
And we need all the publicity and sponsors, and we all do. It's good for all of us, especially me.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, I called you earlier in the year and said we really want to work with you. When I think, and I started watching, or really my first memories of dirt racing is like late 90s, early 2000s, and
Oh, you a baby.
I know. But when that ain't I was talking to Braden Irvin the other day. We was talking about Kentucky basketball, Braden, Shane Irvin's son. And he starts talking about, like, man, I remember back when Malik Monk, and he's talking about these guys like they're old or something, It's like, man, you're making me feel real old right now, because that was just yesterday.
I was looking at some old racing pictures, and it's like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
I remember the first tractor and trailer I seen was Dalmas Conley come in Hurricane Speedway with. Well, actually, that was the first big tractor and trailer. The first one I ever seen, C.J. Rayburn brought to Isom and took the power lines out with him when he come across the track. There'd never been nothing in there that big, it just, but remember Dalmas come in over there, and it just like, oh, my God, what in the world? He had little Playboy bunnies painted around the corners on each corner of the cat on the trailer there.
Dalmas did?
Oh, Dalmas is so cool. I tell you what, racing don't know what they lost, and they lost Dalmas Conley.
Yeah.
I mean, I was everybody knows, me and Jackie was together a long, long time, and most Boggs fans hate the Conleys.
Yeah.
And most Conley fans hated the Boggses, but
right.
I always had so much respect for the Conley family, especially Dalmas. He was just a cool dude. He was funny and hard worker, one of the hardest working people you ever met. He could throw a pretty good punch too.
Yeah, and the first
Even
one
when
to
he was
roll
old.
in. Yeah, the first one to roll in locally with a tractor trailer.
Yeah, first one I
So-
ever seen at Hurricane Speedway was Dalmas, and then CJ brought a big one in over at Iceland. I'm telling you, it took the power lines out with him when he come across the track.
Imagine
crazy.
it would. Yeah. Not used to the tractor trailers back in them days.
No, that was everybody had box trailers, and if you was big time, you had a box trailer and a cube van.
Yeah.
And then if you had both, that was a touring guy.
Yeah.
That was Charlie Schwartzes and Jack Boggs and Jeff Purvis and people like that. Local guy had a pickup truck and a usually open trailer, held 3 rows of tires.
Yeah.
I remember one of the most exciting things I ever seen. Charlie Schwartz had about 10 rows of tires on his open trailer. Man, he was pulling with a motor home. I said, man, that's the way to go right there. But now I grow up. Charlie's one of my heroes, and end up means a lot to somebody like that. He's my friend now. That means like when I first got sick a few years ago, Charlie called me. I needed a kidney transplant, and Charlie called me and offered me a kidney.
No way, really.
Yes, sir. Now, buddy, I'll tell you what, that chokes you up when somebody's been your hero since you was 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how
Absolutely.
I remember, Stevie Francis was number 15.
Mm-hmm.
He started racing when he was 15.
Oh, okay.
And I'm pretty sure the first racetrack he ever raced at was Mountain Motor Speedway. That's where I growed up. It
Yeah.
felt like.
Yeah.
When Stevie's retired now, and man, how old am I?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I think my Social Security number 1.
Yeah.
Number one.
Well, number one, yeah. That old, man. You
Yeah,
ain't that
I'm-
old
but
now.
I'm
Come on.
getting
You.
Getting
There's
close to it.
Yeah, there's
Hell, my son-in-law is considered veteran now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was a kid, but now he's a veteran.
No, he's
now.
a savvy vet now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
yeah. Dustin, he's
Oh,
no
he don't like
kid
that. That's the
anymore.
reason I
He's a
said that.
savvy
He don't
vet.
like that being called a veteran.
The veteran.
We'll have to start calling him the veteran every
Yeah.
time we see him.
Yeah.
The veteran. And but no, I want to talk racing because I called you a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about ordering our shirts, and I called Wes afterwards. I said we was on the phone for 2 hours. I ain't kidding you. It was nonstop. It was nonstop racing stories, and I loved every minute of it because that's what we.
I tell you what. I mean, it's an obsession. I mean,
It
it's
is.
a sickness or whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
It can't be harder to get off drugs than it is get off this stuff.
No.
Like I was telling man, we went to a Riley Green concert last night in Knoxville, 10,000 people there. And a guy me in front of him was talking about racing at Burnside and 411 and Tazewell, and it's just like, man, I know she's got to be thinking I'm sick individual.
Yeah, looking at his girlfriend over here, thinking, what in the world is wrong?
I know she's thinking, what in the world's wrong with him? I know.
Yeah.
But now,
I
mean, it really is a disease. I mean, if you get into it, and I've grown up in, my dad. Mom always said he brought me home in a race car, and I've been going ever since. And he had like a '57 Chevrolet
Yeah.
with a 4-speed in the floor. That was a race car,
Yeah.
Then it ain't no
yeah.
more.
Yeah. No, not anymore.
Oh,
not
it's,
even.
It's unreal. I mean,
Yeah.
people.
You've hit the nail on the head.
The money is just it's ridiculous. I mean, you're talking about $1 million budgets for some of these people, or over
Yeah.
that, because they're $1 million toters now in trailers.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I mean, and the local guy ain't got a chance anymore.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
against these, it's World Outlaws and Lucas. You ain't got a chance.
Yeah, money has definitely changed things, and especially when it comes to the late model world,
Yeah.
not just the late model world, but
Well,
in every,
everything's like that. I remember back when we first started going, some of my friends of mine, and their daddy won a lot of races, but they was building their own motors in the floor of their garage and winning races with it.
Yeah.
Hell, you can't pump a tar up in your garage now without $1 million piece of equipment.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can't do it.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, I guess it's good. I don't know. I don't think it's good, but I don't know. I love my sport,
Yeah.
and I really hate to see the direction it's going right now. I really
Yeah.
do. I'm afraid that Super Late Miles is done, and I think already. I think it's too far gone, and I just hope these tracks realize that crates is the future.
Yeah.
And I think I don't, but I think most general fans don't know the difference.
Right.
If the other class ain't there, if you was watching crates and the supers wasn't there, you probably wouldn't know the difference.
Most fans wouldn't know the difference between the two
and
cars.
actually, the crates is a lot of better racing because the equipment's more even. You ain't got a guy with a $20,000 motor, a guy with a $75,000 one.
Yeah.
It's all 20. They might be cheated 20s, but they're 20.
evens up the competition.
Right.
It really
Yeah,
does, and gives
it does.
the local. I don't know. You might say little guy.
Well, it does. It gives them a chance. And I'll tell you something else, too. It takes, right now, I really think in the super division, it's 95% car and about 5% driver.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe it's that bad. When I started going, it was about 60-40 driver.
Yeah.
And at best, it's 90-10.
Yeah.
I mean, but, you can't outdrive anybody that's got millions of dollars more than you got to spend. You can't outdrive that.
Right.
Can't take a donkey and win the Kentucky Derby. You got to have the right. You got to have the right horses.
Yeah.
Gotta have the money.
You got to have the money.
And it worries me. I mean, I hate it. And I've growed up. There's so many legends has died. Jack Boggs and like I was talking about Dalmas there, and there's a few still. Some of them hanging around. Charlie Schwartz, like I love Charlie.
Yeah.
Really do. He's one of the funniest human beings you've ever met around in your life.
Yeah.
And the best racing trip I ever took was me and his son Audie went to Knoxville, Iowa one time. Drove straight through because we just started talking racing. I think it was about 13 hours. The only time we stopped was to get gas at McDonald's. And we drove straight through. And, I mean, it was just because all the stuff I read about back in, when they raced in Florida, you didn't know who won until the Mid-American come out in March. Or when you didn't have no idea who won in Florida.
Couldn't look it up on Facebook.
No.
Yeah.
Well, now I'll be at the racetrack. My brother called me and said, "Why'd that happen?" Well, I didn't even see it. And I'm here, and I didn't know that.
He sees it before you do, or knows
and
about
it's
it, hears
just,
about it.
But, it was just so different, and it just, I guess that's what hooks you. And growing up, one of my best memories, when I was going to old Mountain Motor Speedway over there, we would go, the way the track was, you would go sit in the parking lot and wait and see who come in. Everybody had open trailers, so you knowed who was there.
Yeah.
And you was the whole time. And we used to go to Paintsville track, and there used to be a house right at the foot of the hill. And I went with Walter Combs all the time. There was 3 or 4 little kids out there, and you could hear them hollering, "Number 12, number 12, number 12." And they done the same thing for Paul Harris and Dixon and all of them. But it was just, you just hear them kids. They was so excited.
Yeah.
And the first race of the year every year, especially, we go over and see it, and we wait until the cars start pulling in. And when they started first hot lap, you smell the dirt and the fuel.
Right.
And then, when you sit that close, it's doing this in your chest.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
it's just, I get cold chill. I still do.
Oh, yeah. I do
still
too.
Well, yeah.
Oh, sure.
I think
I
we're
mean-
going to 411 next weekend, and if I do, I'll have cold chill bumps on me.
Yeah.
When the
Just-
first hot laps go out,
Yeah.
I'll have cold
Yeah.
chill bumps on me.
Yeah.
Well, you just talk about them kids sitting there and watching the drivers come in. Heck, I'm 38 years old, and I still like to sit there, get there early, and watch the haulers roll
Yeah.
in.
Well,
and
back then, they
who-
was open haulers because
Right.
you know who they was.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's a big guess because everybody's got a big white one, most of them.
Yeah.
And every now and then you see a yellow one or a gray one or a purple one. But
Well, like I said, I mean, I was late 90s, early 2000s. So I know I don't go back near as far as you. I have said several times, Wes, we've talked about this before, how cool it would be just for one day to be able to, like, take a trip back in time and experience.
I tell you what,
yeah,
you couldn't.
the
I mean, like I said, I've been in this too long. And I feel old right now, I'll tell you. But now, you know, I'm telling you, if the tour, I remember Blackjack Boggs used to come to Isom, and they was when you turned up left-hand Forker and Hyman to go towards Isom, when that cube van went by with them that big deck of cards on it, and Blackjack rode on it.
Yeah.
You could watch the people going to the racetrack.
Oh man.
I mean, they was following him over.
That's
and when the track would start struggling a little bit, you'd always know the rumor was coming. Charlie Schwartz is coming.
Oh, okay.
Or the strawberry car. My dad didn't know Charlie Schwartz's name. He knowed the strawberry car.
Okay.
That's when he had the big J.W. Hunt strawberry on the car, you know, and that's what everybody know. Strawberry car's coming this weekend. They'd be 2,000 people over there, and they wasn't nothing, you know.
Yeah.
But they'd start a rumor Charlie was coming because he was that famous.
And now
and that popular.
Yeah, and how crazy is it to think about, you're talking about all these people packing the track as they see these cars and all this stuff coming. You think about all the technology and stuff we have today.
Yeah.
And you know, you never see
don't
that for
see
a
them.
World of Outlaw or a Lucas Oil race or
now
a big
too,
late
and
model race.
people, you know, and I do it too. I ain't talking about people 'cause I do it too, but who's going to be there? Well, back then you didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you did not know until that racetrack, till they pulled out on the racetrack, and we sat there at Isom, he'd come down that hill.
Yeah.
And you could hear the crowd light up when somebody pulled in, Jack or Purvis or, you know, and then and when Scott Bloomquist started racing, that's about when all that stopped, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember him coming to Isom with a dually and an open trailer. I think his sponsor was a Catch One Club or something. If anybody's from Knoxville, they'll know what that is. But but you know, he gets out and he's long. And I'd heard of him. I'd never seen him race before.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen him. I realized right quick. You know, he was young. I don't know if he was even 20 then or not, and he was usually this dude's something special.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Purvis was, and honestly, I don't know if he's ever been anybody better driver than Purvis.
Yeah.
I mean, people just forget. He won the World 100 3 times when he was 26 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He had finished first or second 5 out of 6 years.
Yeah.
I mean, on him 26, how good would he have been if he would have, you know, hadn't got into asphalt stuff?
Well, you're talking about, too, though, I mean, back in the day, people would come to the racetrack for the characters, for the driver. They had their favorite driver or their not so favorite driver in the seat.
Well, I'll tell you what, when it comes to selling T-shirts,
yeah,
the best thing you can do is be selling for a driver. If he's running good, that helps.
Yeah.
But now, if he does something kind of off the wall, gets into a fight or something,
that helps.
You better be there early the next weekend and have plenty with you.
Yeah, to get a T-shirt.
I remember Jackie Bogser had a car. He called it Crybaby all the time because everybody was crying around and saying it wasn't legal. I don't know if it was or not. I didn't know the rules, but he called it Crybaby. It's Crybaby. We went out there and beat him with Crybaby again. And we just about done a shirt, and I wish I'd have done it now with just a shirt that had Crybaby on it.
Yeah. Oh, man,
that's awesome.
That was after he started, you know, when he was so good in 04 and 05. He called the car Moneybags because he won so many races that car. It was Moneybags.
Yeah.
And he wrecked it at East Bay one. I never will forget talking about characters. He wrecked it on Friday night, I think. Pretty much jigged it down there, got in the wall and beat it. And he had a new chassis sitting in his shop in Grayson.
Uh-huh.
He had a buddy of his go get that car, drive it to Volusia County. We put it together. We took that car apart. We took Moneybags apart and put it in the other car, and he raced it Wednesday. So we called that Son of Bags, which is SOB. We call it SOB.
Yeah.
It was Summer Bags, but he called it Son of Bags.
Yeah.
Because it was just the parts off of Moneybags with a new chassis, and that's, you know, it's still a pretty good car. But, but you know, it just, like I was telling her, me and Audie went to Knoxville, and that was the best racing trip I ever had. I mean, we laughed and we cried. You know, a lot of the stuff, you know, and Charlie was the biggest character probably ever in racing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'd read about all them stuff, you know, him with the crowbars on top of his car and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And Audie was there, and he said, well, it happened this way. This is what really happened. You said, man, I'm living history right here. And it still amazes me, you know, that when Charlie's number shows up on my phone, I'm like a little kid.
Yeah.
I feel like I get my first date in high school. I'm 14 years old and the girls call me.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But it still tickles me to death. But, you know, it just goes back to your childhood. And that big strawberry was, you know, that's like J&J Steel or Miller Brothers Coal. Strawberry, if you had a strawberry on your car, you was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And but now me and Audie talked You know, we talked everything, stuff Charlie had done, just racing, the way things happened, the wedge car, you know, that Charlie and them brought to Pennsboro. We talked about how all that come about.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Jim Dunn dying, and we cried, I think, for about 100 miles there after that, because you know, he was there.
Yeah.
He seen that happen, and you know, stuff like that, but you don't forget. Hell, I can't even remember what I ate for breakfast this morning, but I'll not forget that trip to Knoxville.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I bet not. Yeah.
And I think I slept about 2 hours of it.
Yeah. That's a long trip to get.
But I'll tell you what, and it was so different. It was the first time I'd really been somewhere that, you know, around here, if you see a black racetrack, it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
We drove 13 hours, and I got out of the motorhome, and that track was as black as my sleeves or your off shirts.
Yeah.
I said, Audie, if we've drove this far, I'm going to be mad. If it's what I think this is, I'm going to be mad.
Yeah.
And I walked across the racetrack and could see my shoe prints in it.
Yeah.
And it was, at that time, best racing I ever seen. I mean, they qualified and inverted the whole heat race.
Uh-huh.
And I think Burkhardt come from the tail twice in a heat race.
Uh-huh.
He'd lead, and then he'd go back to 7th or 8th, and he'd come back. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
And that was a night that Shirley, which I'd never really I'd heard him, but I'd never seen him race.
Yeah.
You know, because he used to be on Illinois, and
Right.
he spun out on like lap 3 or 4, went to the tail of 32-car field, and won that race. I remember when he took the lead, I thought he was getting lapped, but he won, and Tony Stewart run second.
Wow.
Man, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And if that race would have stayed green, Tony would have won it, because the longer it went, the faster he got. But on them restarts, daggone, Shirley was killing him.
Yeah.
And then he gets out of the car and got 10 earrings down around one ear, and you say, and you look at him, I see why they call him a squirrel. But man, that was just so exciting coming home. But I don't think I could ever. Asphalt wouldn't have been the same. It might have been back when the Petties and Allisons and Gallbarrel and stuff like that was racing. It was pretty good. But
Yeah.
But now dirt racing, to me, that's where it's at.
Yeah. Dirt's where it's at. You know, when you think about dirt racing here, I've got to talk to you about this while we've got you on here. Dirt racing around here, when you think about dirt racing, I would say top nationally, but definitely top here. There's not a more iconic name than Boggs when you say Boggs.
Well, you had Jack, and then fielders down to Jackie like that, and it was just such a. I had planned all the time. But really, Jackie got so good in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
I knowed he was going to win the World 100. He
Yeah.
led it twice. He led the Dream 68 laps, I think, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I already had me a shirt. I knowed what we was going to put on it, family tradition.
Okay.
Because, Jack's brother Randy won the World 100 before Jack did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, there's, you got a daddy and your uncle and a son.
Man, how cool would that?
That would have been cool right there.
Story. It'd been one of those storybook things that, unfortunately, as close as he was for so many years, never.
Well, Jack, a lot of people don't remember too, especially even people like you all probably. When Jack win the World 100 was like Earnhardt winning the Daytona 500 because he had so many times he could have won that. He'd led and something stupid happened, or just and the rivalries they had back in. These people don't know what a rivalry is now.
Yeah.
I seen. I couldn't tell you what year it was, but Jack, the Boggses and the Conleys didn't get along.
Mm-hmm.
They was on the front row of the 6th heat at the World 100, which is the pole of the World 100.
Yeah.
Jack and Damas, neither one got to the green flag. And I don't know who started or who didn't, but neither one got to the green flag. I know that.
Yeah.
But no, they was hard nosed, and and it ain't like it is now. When them first in, they beat and bang and probably go drink a beer with each other the next night. But now it wasn't nothing personal. Everybody takes things personal now, and it's destroyed racing. And they've took, I worry about the National Series now is trying to be NASCAR, and that ain't good.
Yeah.
That really ain't good. As Jackie'd say, I'd rather watch paint dry.
Yeah. Right. So did you know? I know I want to talk about Jackie here in a minute, but did you know Jack personally?
I did. Not real well, and I didn't get to know him till. See, he died in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Right after he won the World 100, we was down at our shop, was on the other end of town then. Bob Miller called me. Hey, Bob from Ohio originally. Hey.
Yeah.
How'd you like to do a car for the World Dirt Track or the World 100 winner? That'd be pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
Me and Jack be right down there. He's like, Jack Boggs walks in my shop.
Man, how crazy is that? Yeah.
And I've got a door over there that Jack give me himself. And in the time, you don't think, I need to get this autograph. But you don't even think about that.
Yeah. But I mean, you say Jack Boggs coming in, but Jack Boggs and also Miller.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Miller Brothers Co's on so many cars.
Well, it is. I mean, you can see I've got a couple doors here probably with it on it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to have both of them come in, that was
and Bob is such a, I mean, I don't know how to explain him. I mean, he was a character himself, and he loved racing as much as anybody that I've ever met.
Yeah.
He told me there at one time he had 16 engines.
Yeah.
And they was all in different people's cars. Just because, I want to help this guy or help this guy. Mm-hmm. And, it just, people said, well, you helping him? Well, what do you need? I just want to see a good race. And we had some really good racing there for a while. You had Jackie and you had Paul Harris and David Dixon and little Eddie was just starting to get in late models. Mm-hmm. And, and Shannon, and I don't leave nobody out, Chucky May, and I know I'm going to.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to. But, Bob would just like, hey, you need a motor?
Yeah.
I'll get you one. Need tires? I'll get you one. I just want to see a good race. I don't want nobody to get mad, but he loved it as much as anybody ever been around.
He helped so many people.
Oh, he did. It was unreal. And the races and there's a lot of people that Bob helped. He'd say, don't tell nobody. Mm-hmm. I just want to help you.
Yeah.
Well, he done us that way. We bought this building off of him, and it'd been anybody else's in Eastern Kentucky. I probably couldn't afford to bought it, but Bob wanted me to have it.
Okay.
And, I mean, it just miss people like that. And, people don't know what they're missing. Like you say, but, Jack was so good. And to me, honest, they sat me down, and I know I'm prejudiced because I did like Jack, and I knowed him.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't like Jack.
Right.
But I never walked by Jack Boggs' trailer. He did, hey, come in and let me fix you a bologna sandwich and drink a beer with me.
Yeah.
I didn't drink, so I didn't do that, but he always asked.
Yeah.
And, it makes you feel good.
For sure it does,
It really makes you. And for anybody, not just, but a racer to me is like, people, LeBron James or somebody, I hate to bring that up, but, people like that's that big. And to me, they're bigger than him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
they're.
That's what I growed up. I mean, I growed up, I got my license on a Friday, got my driver's license. Mm-hmm. The first place I drove on Saturday with nobody else in the car with me was Mountain Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, I didn't think of going nowhere else, Right. I didn't want to go to movies. I didn't want to go out somewhere. I wanted to go to racetrack.
Oh, I was the same way. Yeah, I mean, as soon as I got the ability to get out and go myself, man, I was going to the racetrack. Where else you going to go?
When you really get destroyed pretty much, it's when you're going with somebody, a fan with them, and they win.
Yeah.
And especially if you've worked on their car, you've put hands on that car, if it's just tightening a lug nut
right.
And they win, I mean, you feel like you're going to bust.
Yeah.
I mean,
man.
It just swells your chest up. I might think it swelled my belly up. But, but it's just, it's really, I hate to call it a sickness, but it is.
Yeah.
I've had, Dustin there being my son-in-law, I know of at least 3 people that want to be buried in one of his shirts.
Oh,
but no, what an honor!
I don't doubt it one bit.
I know these other race people. I ain't talking about this team, but I know these other people's done that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but what an honor! Your last breath, and you're thinking about it. Won't happen to me unless they owe money, and then they'll be worried about it. But
if you're a dirt racing fan, it is like they're super. You get that feeling of they're superstars,
and especially like you said, if a driver hollers at you from we're working on their car, or they're up in the holler, hey, come talk to me. That's I mean, you just think it's a crazy feeling.
I remember when I first started doing work for Jackie there, and me and him had a lot in common. He come down to the shop, and Jackie was like me, fat and bald and limp. We both got one leg shorter than the other. Luckily, we was on the opposite sides, and we had to watch. We had to watch how we was walking. But this is the truth. If we got on the wrong side, we was doing this. So we had to make sure we got on the right side of each other.
Lord.
Get on the right side, Jackie.
I'd always walk around him so he wasn't hitting shoulders,
Yeah.
And he was much bigger than me. His shoulders hit me in the head.
That's funny.
But now Jackie was one of them. He was old school. I mean, he ought to have been racing back with Charlie and Purvis, and Jack Hewitt. Loved Jack Hewitt to death too. I mean, he wasn't a big late model racer, but now, You know, and you hear them talking. And anybody, Jackson and Hewitt's hilarious. You know, and him and Charlie's best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And they was up there, had them up there at Portsmouth, signed autographs 2 or 3 years ago. And I sat in the booth there with them. And that was just, I don't know what you can compare it to as far as, you know, being with people like that you've known and looked up to.
Right.
And I remember I told Jack, or I was kind of in between them like this, and I told Schwartz, I said, you know, you boys like this is the reason people like me like racing. It's the reason dirt racing is as big as it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie said, more mean it was him. You know, and they was like two comedians just playing off, you know, cutting each other.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And but now I hope someday you all get an opportunity to interview some of these older drivers like Charlie. Mm-hmm. Charlie's one of the funniest. I mean, he could have been a comedian.
Yeah.
He's absolutely one of the fun. And Audie's the same way.
Yeah.
That's two of the funniest people you ever been around in your whole life.
Yeah.
And that's what we're wanting to do is interview these guys before it's too late.
Well,
and they're dead and gone.
Racing's a little bit. It's almost like football because you don't see the driver. You know, football you got the helmet on, and but they're in the car and a helmet on. It ain't like basketball or baseball where you can see them or see their families a whole lot. And boys, what goes into it? If you fans only know, you'd never talk about a driver. I don't care how bad you know him. You'd never get on the internet and bash them because you don't know what they're dealing with, and the work and the time and the money.
Yeah.
And you know, and I'm lucky. I've got an awesome son-in-law that their shop's right there.
Yeah.
My grandkids is out there putting rivets in the cars, and
yeah.
Since Shay and Dustin, when they started dating, she's designed all of his late model cars.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we print them, but she's done all the design work on them cars.
Yeah.
And I think they look pretty awesome. She's better than me.
Yeah, I think they do too. Yeah,
she does a good job.
We were actually talking. I don't remember if it was on the way over here yesterday about how
it's a couple days ago. Yeah, we talked about that. But
now, you know, and a lot of people don't really understand, and it's sitting in the stand, you know, it's just about like watching a computer game. And I think computer games they're destroying the real world.
Yeah.
I remember we was at Portsmouth waiting up there sitting out waiting on the races, opened the gate up one night, and his son walked through there, and that little boy said, "Well, Daddy, I ain't got my controller." I thought, buddy, where do you think you're going? I mean, he was taking him to the racetrack, but he thought he was going to be,
he thought he
at
was,
the racetrack.
Yeah.
And that just, you know, I thought, boy, that's sad right there.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's awesome that the dad was taking him, but that's pretty sad. He thought that it was, you know, going to be on TV or something.
Yeah. Not used to being.
And they saying a lot of these younger drivers, you know, that's the way they're learning to drive. I know Hudson O'Neal did. I know he did. I remember when he was about that tall, you know, and that's his knees now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But everywhere they had them, they'd always have them simulators set up and had a trophy. Hudson, I don't know how many of them he's got in his house.
Yeah.
I mean, and what made it fun, too, I know when Dustin, he'd always get in them simulators. He was racing then.
Yeah.
And people that didn't like him would spend a fortune to beat his time.
Just to
He'd come over and set fast time. There was one boy, I bet he spent $50 every time Dustin was over there. He didn't like him. He just he wanted to beat his time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I heard Davenport there one time. Somebody asked him, I said, is it like driving? Is the simulators like driving a car? Yep, except you ain't scared to death when you run 150 miles an hour in a corner. So that's a little bit different.
Oh yeah, a whole lot different.
When you hit that wall, it's real different. Then.
Yeah. Not only the impact and the pain, but the expense that comes along with it. There's a whole lot different.
I mean, you know, it just the work and the money's crazy. I mean, working race car late model drivers ain't got a chance. I mean, they really don't.
Yeah.
If you see a guy that works for a living and he makes a feature, you'll go pat him on the back.
Yeah, just because of the amount of time and
it's unbelievable. And
what they're sacrificing.
And it's such family. I mean, you know, racing's got a bad reputation, and it's earned some of it.
Yeah.
But now that's my family. I mean, you know, not just my actual family, but my friend. I've got very few friends that ain't got something to do with racing.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, just people. Well, they get bored with me because I'm bored with them. They want to talk about a ball game. I don't hear that crap. Tell me what kind of tires he's got on. I listen to that.
Yeah, well, I've said I can talk about three things: dirt racing, Kentucky basketball, Kentucky football. If you can't talk about any of those three things, we ain't got nothing to talk about.
I got the racing covered, but I'd probably talk about Cal pretty bad. I like Stoops. I
could too on any other day, but we did just beat Alabama by 30 points.
I mean, beat them like a drum today.
Yeah.
And we talked about that on the way.
That's what's so frustrating about Cal. You know, now they'll get beat by next week by Vanderbilt or something.
Well, that's what we said. Yeah, they go to
You know,
Mississippi
either-
State on
that's what frustrates
Tuesday.
you
Yeah.
so bad.
They either going to be the first team out and get beat in the tournament, or they're going to win
Well,
it
they
all.
liable to
Yeah.
get beat in the first round.
Right.
If they don't, they'll probably go to.
Or they're allowed to
Final
win
eight
the
or something.
championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be either
But
one.
now, I give up on him in 2015 when he had the two best teams in the country. The bench was the second best team. It might have been the best team. I figure Euless and Booker on the bench, they was the best team.
Yeah, they probably was.
You know,
yeah.
that's when I give up. I mean,
Yeah.
and I ain't got nothing. Love the players, the school. Got a kidney from UK. I ain't got no problem with him. But man, he's just so frustrating.
Well, I threatened to give up. I just can't do
I
it.
do.
Sarah laughs at me because I give up about every other game and
Well, we
say
went
I
to
ain't
that
watching
concert
another
last
one.
night,
yet.
and I got me a Tennessee popcorn bucket to brought home. With me.
Oh,
Oh,
no. I don't know if we can even be friends anymore. A
we
Tennessee
still got
popcorn. yeah,
Yeah.
we still got racing. You can't turn Tennessee on us, though, Billy. You can't.
Hey, but I'll
do
tell
it.
you what was hilarious. Our last night, Riley Green's got that one song, sitting on the 50-yard line watching Alabama beat Tennessee's ass.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, boys, I told her, I said, he ain't going to sing that song.
Did he?
He sat there and he pulled his cap down. He said, I really hate to sing this, but I'm going. And I mean, they was booing,
Was
giving
they
him the
really?
finger.
Oh,
and
man.
he sung it, and he stopped there for a minute, and he said, you know, that's the most people's ever booed me at one time. And they had to be probably 10,000
Yeah.
people in it because it was packed.
yeah.
And in the last there, he changed the line at the end. He said, I'm going to change this song up a little bit for you all. Maybe you'll like me again. But it was sitting at the 50-yard line watching Alabama get their ass beat by Tennessee. And when he done that, the place all loved him
Oh,
again.
yeah, I'm sure they
But
did.
that,
yeah.
that was pretty cool. I mean,
well
you know.
played, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you go Thompson Bowling Arena?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
the first time I'd been in there. And you know, it ain't as big as I thought it would be. You know, I've seen ball games, watched a lot of ball games there, but it ain't. I don't know if it ain't much bigger than half big as Rupp.
I think
Rupp's
Rupp will
huge.
hold 24,000.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
place couldn't hold 12 maybe. I mean, it's nice. I mean, it's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice place. I've been in there a few
But
times.
you know, I tell you something. Dirt racing, dirt late models. I hope they get lined out, and that they need a better Hall of Fame. I mean, it's great to see all that stuff, but if you ever go, the Knoxville racetrack has got the Sprint Car Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
Right.
and I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I was telling you, me and Audi went, and I'll tell you just how family racing is. Me and Audi went through, and they've got every finishing order of every Knoxville Nationals
Mm-hmm.
sprint car race, like on a plaque on the walls.
Yeah.
We was going around through there, and a lot of people don't know Charlie's daddy was a big sprint car racer,
Mm-hmm.
and his name was Audi, so he calls Audi Jr. Augie. But we went in there, and Audi was saying, Papa led that race. Papa, Daddy led this. And if I might be wrong on this, but I believe it's what he told me, that Charlie and his daddy, Audi, both led the white flag of the Knoxville Nationals, and neither one of them won it.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, he's sitting there. It's Papa
Yeah.
or Poppy or
Yeah.
Daddy. Man, that's cool.
Yeah. It
That's
is
cool, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's cool.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, I ain't a big sprint car fan, but I know what it means.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've never been I've never been to a sprint car
Well,
race
I always
either,
just,
so it's
I always
just-
said I didn't want to see somebody die.
Yeah.
And you know what's going to happen. We went to Atomic. I went to Atomic to a World Outlaw race one time because I wanted to say I seen Steve Kendra drive a race car. And then to me, he's the best, maybe one of the best race car drivers, period, ever sat in a race car. I mean, he just, and I wanted to say I seen him, so I went up there and watched them. And, well, where are you going to see it? I said, I'm fronting in the front row. Well, you crazy? I said, no. Well, you get killed. No, they're going to go over my head. I'm running towards the fence when they come up through there.
Yeah.
But we was at Atomic one time, and they had a sprint car race, and I guess it was Night Stars come out. You know, where they had the Renegade Stars and then the All-Star Circuit of Champions or something. But it was a star or something was the sprint car race, and I was behind the bleachers in turn 4, and a sprint car landed about 25 foot from me,
Daggone.
wide open on its side.
That's too close for comfort.
You daggone right behind the bleachers. You figure you're safe back there.
Yeah.
And there's a piece of wood about this long, that big around, landed in front of my trailer. And the lady standing there beside me, she jumped up in my trailer. I thought she'd had a heart attack. She was just, she'd seen it coming.
Yeah.
And they turned it, and finally they got it shut off. I mean, it sat there wide open for a couple minutes, and finally got shut off, and he pushed it back through the grandstands to the pits.
Mm-hmm.
And about 30, 40 minutes later, I seen him come down there with his, I don't know if his wife or girlfriend, but he was pointing.
Yeah.
I landed right there.
Proud of it.
I mean, those things,
But
they're
now they scare
fast,
me,
they're
and
scary.
I never, but people really don't. And the danger is this. I guess that's part of the excitement too. But
Mm-hmm.
unless you're family,
Yeah.
you got friends or family. I mean, I seen Jackie wreck our Charlotte one time, and I honest to God thought he died. I mean, he was out of it. Seemed like before the car stopped rolling.
Yeah.
But and then Dustin had that bad wreck out at Florence, and
When he hit the tire
Yeah,
in the
that
infield
was-
and done
I'll tell you what,
That was bad. I was
the thing,
there.
it flipped and it went.
yeah.
It didn't do
It-
this or that. It just stuck. And
yeah.
then the body shifted, so it looked like the cage had collapsed on it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you're looking at it. I was sitting over there going in turn 1, and he was going in 3.
Yeah.
And you could see the body on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I almost throwed up. I mean, I got sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
It was like,
That's
Yeah.
one of them I'll never forget.
Yeah.
I was in
You
the
won't- you
infield
don't.
watching it.
It was
I
one
was
of the
right
craziest.
And,
It really was. Yeah.
You know, if you hadn't hit that U-turn, it'd probably killed 30, 40 people.
there. Probably.
Because
Yeah.
everybody was standing. That's where everybody was standing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember walking with my leg. I can't run, so I walked around through 1 and 2. And Florence has got all them sponsor banners up there, so I couldn't even see the
Yeah.
racetrack.
Right.
And I got around through there, and I still hadn't heard fans hollering or nothing. It's like, this is bad. Boys.
Yeah. Something.
I mean, I was shaking.
The place was quiet.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
was.
you
pin
could have heard a
drop.
pin drop.
You could've.
There was
I mean,
no
and it was
noises
instant
made.
too.
Yeah.
As soon as he hit, you didn't hear nothing.
No,
I think
nothing.
it quit popping popcorn.
It was scary, man. I've
And
never seen a wreck.
I got around there coming off 2, and Mike Hayes, sales for Jimmy Owens, was standing there, and he was on his phone. I said, "He's calling down people. He's dead." I mean, that was my frame
That's
of
what was
mind.
going
I thought
through
he
your
was
mind.
dead,
Yeah.
and I hated him stop. I said, "Mike, did he get out of that car?" He said, "Yeah." They said he was all right, and he was just like.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
And then I start going over through there, and I see Shay standing there by herself. I said, "Dustin, all right?" And she went, "No, what's wrong?" Well, she said he's got blurry vision, got a bad headache, ears ringing, so we're going to take him to hospital.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I'll get Riley, that was her oldest daughter." I said, "I'll get her and take her back to the motorhome."
Mm-hmm.
And I walked over and I said, "Riley, girl, what happened?" "Daddy broke his car." As long as she's happy, we all right now. But
Yeah.
I mean, I really never dreamed that it would be that scary. I mean, you're thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to handle this?
Yeah.
And that was one thing that killed me when Audie was talking about Jim Dunn dying.
Mm-hmm.
He said, they all left to have a big time that evening, going to have a good race, got a chance to win maybe. And they're going home with an empty trailer.
Yeah, man. That's just
And, it just, I mean, buddy, I tell you what, that's freaking scary, buddy.
unimaginable.
And
Yeah.
the young man that got killed there at Eldora, that was right in front of us.
Oh yeah.
Never dreamed he was hurt.
Yeah.
Never dreamed. It didn't
Yeah.
look bad.
No,
I
it
mean,
didn't.
And that was, we was really keying in on that race too, because he was Dustin was 4th, and I think he was 5th or 6th. And it was just like, he just slid into the wall. He didn't even think about it.
Mm-hmm. And you have to say,
And
man.
then all of a sudden they get out there and you see him with Jaws lights cutting the top off,
Yeah.
cutting the roll bars off. And then they pull him up out of the car and his heads, and they bagging him behind.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I always said if I seen somebody get killed, I wouldn't go back. But that's a sickness.
Yeah.
That's a sickness.
It's-
Because I went back. Now, I'll be honest with you, the first race or two out of that, it was scary.
Yeah, it's an addiction for sure, but it also has to make you think, man. Just thank the Lord for the the improved safety
Yeah, I
and
mean,
stuff
Equipment.
and the equipment and stuff these days. Because fortunately, it seems like you hear a lot
because no
less.
drivers would do anything.
Yeah.
I'd have heard several
Oh,
ones
yeah.
of them. I'd run conduit if I thought I'd win.
Yeah, they would. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But, it's, but, and I know people get on here, they don't think about the wives and kids and
Right.
father-in-laws and dads and moms. And man, it's scary. And it's a violent sport. When you see a wreck, it's violent.
yeah.
I mean, they scare me. I mean, it don't matter
yeah,
if it's 2 bombers. It scares the hell out of me.
yeah,
But I wish people realized that I wish fans really realized, this ain't something you just get on the internet and cut your buddy about or try to make somebody mad or smart off. This people, they're doing this to entertain. They're risking their life to entertain you.
Yeah.
Give them some respect.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I'll
exactly
get mad.
right.
I'll get mad at people sometime and say something, but and drivers is so different than what you think.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you one that used to aggravate me because of the way he drove a car was Tyler Hurd.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler's a good guy. He really is. But when I really started seeing him in a different light, we was at Portsmouth at the dirt track one year, and he was standing over at the steak on the stick guy.
Yeah.
Which I'm always there when
I know,
there.
man.
I'm in
It's
line.
good stuff.
When he's there,
Yeah.
I'm in
Can't
line.
beat the
Yeah,
steak
you
on
find
the
me
stick.
there too.
This
yeah.
guy, I don't remember. I can't think of his name. It was, they was a little boy standing there, and they was just talking. Boy looked like he was 12, 14 years old. Him and Tyler and that guy was standing there talking, and he said, "Do you know who this is?" And that boy said, "No." He said, "This is Turbo Tyler Herb." Well, you the one wreck everybody, ain't you? And Turbo never said a word. He just kind of grinned. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
And I thought, boys, how cool is that?
Yeah,
that
is.
just gave me so much. And then you start hearing the stories. Now, there was one guy, son had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Turbo had cancer when he was a little boy.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And
Yeah, I
he
didn't
said,
know that.
I'll always respect him. I don't care what he does or don't do. I'll be his number one fan. He said, when he found out my little boy had cancer, he sat over and talked to him for 2 hours about what it was like to be a kid with cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not like somebody
Oh, I
like
know.
that?
Yeah. It's, you couldn't not. Yeah. For sure.
And they just so many stories like that, you don't see.
Mm-hmm.
And well, they ain't no good news anymore anyway.
Yeah.
Good news don't get reported, but I love talking about stuff like that.
Well, I think part of it is too, like, you think about people who are NBA fans see NBA players as superstars. They don't see them as humans. And,
No, they
and
don't.
unfortunately,
They don't.
a lot of times I think in our world too, because we look at these guys as superstars
Yeah.
at the dirt tracks, people don't see them as humans either.
No,
and then
they
you throw
don't.
social media on top of that,
it's-
where people see a profile and not a person,
Yeah.
and just something, it's
But,
just a
you
part
know,
of
you
the
just-
world we live
You
in.
just,
but
things like that, and it just, and there's so many heartbreaking stuff in racing too. All the time somebody if you see a guy tear up in victory lane, there's usually something bad going on.
yeah.
The night when Turbo's daddy died there, you know something was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
kept
yeah.
showing his mommy and daddy, or not his daddy, but him and his mommy sitting there together, and you could tell something was wrong. And in his interviews, he just cut them off and walked off and wasn't saying nothing. And he won there,
Yeah.
And then I told Shay, I said, "There's something wrong." She said, "Yeah, there's something wrong because his daddy's always there." And in his interview, he was crying when he got out of the car. He didn't go to his crew chief; he went straight to his mom. And that's understandable. And
Sure.
then when he started talking about winning, he broke down.
Yeah.
And it was just like, man, how you handle that?
Right.
But
You got to talk a little bit about this too, because we talked about it on the phone that day, and I just thought, man, we go visit Billy. We've got to have him talk about Jackie Boggs, and because you talked about Jackie was one of the more
well, I'll tell you what,
misunderstood people.
He really was, because Jackie was one of them. He was a big old bald-headed guy, and he was a roughneck, redneck as he could be.
Yeah.
But now Jackie had a good heart. He would do something. He'd do something maybe on the track he shouldn't have done, or say something he shouldn't have done. And I said, "Jackie, you think you ought to done that?" You know me, I'm ornery. That was what he said when he knowed he'd done something wrong. He wouldn't admit it, but I'm pretty
I'm
ornery.
ornery. That's what
pretty
I
ornery.
always
I'm
say.
ornery.
Well,
But
Yeah.
now I tell you what, I've seen him stop in a Quick Mart or somewhere, and a little kid wanting a candy bar. He'd buy him a box. He didn't buy him a candy bar. He bought him a box.
Buy him a box of
Yeah.
candy bars. Yeah.
And I never will forget one story that just sums up Jackie to a T. He'd been to Portsmouth, which was his best track, and had a rough night. Car was beat up and banged up. I don't know if he even finished.
Yeah.
And we was coming back from Portsmouth, and we was, we was back in Kentucky there somewhere, and went by. Jackie would not, if his car broke down side the road, he stopped. He helped him. It didn't matter what time of night, what kind. But, he kind of come up on that car and flew back. It takes a little bit of time to stop them truck and trailers.
Sure.
He backed all the way back up to them people and got out. And it was 2 young boys, 2 young girls, and had the hood up, What's going on? He kind of bullshitted him there a little bit. And he said, how far y'all live from here? And they said, like 5 minutes or something. He said, well, I can fix your car, and get you home. But if you get back out, you're gonna be stranded. This will get you home. You need to get it to a mechanic and let it get fixed.
Yeah.
And he said, boys, let the lift gate down and let the door open so I can get him a toolbox. You know, when he let that door down, you can see the race car up in the top. You can just see the hind end of it.
Yeah.
And the spoiler and tires and stuff. And this one girl there standing, who is that? Who is that? And Jackie didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to say nothing. So he was just kindly working on their car and going on. Who is that? Who is that? And finally Jackie said, that's Jeff Gordon's car. We just haul it around. We just haul it around for him. That's a show car. No. Well, that Jackie, you could do better than that. And then that girl just kept right on. And I said, ma'am, I can't whisper to her. And I said, that's Jackie Boggs. She said, no, it ain't. Yeah, it is. No, it ain't. He's too big an asshole to stop and help somebody. And I mean, you could see Jackie's head just turn. It got red from the neck.
Oh,
you
I imagine it would, yeah.
Around. And he never said a word, though. He still never said a word to him. Just, boys, y'all need to get home. If you go somewhere else, you're going to end up stranded again.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many times I've seen him stop and help people. And people was always coming to, the people in Grayson miss him because he was always welding on somebody for something or letting somebody borrow him money. And he was a big-hearted person as you ever meet. And, you didn't see that. You sure didn't see it in the race car.
Yeah.
But
had a totally different, yeah.
When he wrecked there at Portsmouth that night and got broke his neck that time. And, like we've talked there before about how the Boggs and Conleys feuded so bad.
Mm-hmm.
First one to his house was R.J. Conley.
Yeah.
First one down there when Jackie got out of the hospital, R.J. was first in there. And like I say, I love the Conleys. Ain't many Boggs fans can say that.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember one time it was heat racing. Jackie was running third. I think maybe they took three, and he was running third, and Damas was running fourth. They come off four, coming to the Jacker, and Jackie had a flat and just spun out. I mean, Damas wasn't even close to wrecking him. Didn't even touch him after he spun out.
Yeah.
They was woman come around my trailer, cussing Damas, said everything. And I said, I believe Jackie had a flat. I don't care if it's them damn Conley's fault if he had a flat or not. But it was like that all the time. When I first started going to Portsmouth and started selling Jackie shirts, you had a walkway there, or the suites is at up here, and they had a walkway there. And Jackie's fans all sat on the left of it, just facing the track. Mm-hmm. And the Conley fans sat over here. And during the night, they was throwing stuff at each other. I mean, bottles and everything in the world.
Yeah.
And, it just, but it just amazing, buddy, that the fan bases can be that diehard. But, that went back a couple of generations, too, because I don't think Jack and Damas got along real good either.
Well, those rivalries though, and that the drama involved in it is what makes it.
It's what makes the sport.
It sells T-shirt. It makes the sports. It keeps us coming back. That's what we want to see.
Because you want to see that week in and week out.
That's one of the things that's killed NASCAR is they've cut the personalities out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Johnson's probably one of the greatest ever, I guess.
Yeah.
Is anybody ever more boring than him?
Right.
Really?
No,
who's more boring than Jimmy Johnson?
You don't
he won championship after championship, and there wasn't no controversy.
He never got excited.
Right.
It just
you don't have those personalities like you said. It was the personalities that made the sport.
Really, the last personality probably had was Tony Stewart.
Yeah, it was for sure.
Tony Stewart was so. I remember one time, if you remember him,
Kevin Harvick was a bit of one too. Now he's
Stewart and. I can't even think of his name now because I got to think what Tony called him that day. But Carl Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
Edwards got into Tony there. They interviewed him there, and Tony said, hey, he said, I thought I was doing good. I might have a chance to win the race, and that big Eddie Haskell come through.
Yeah. But if you think about
Carl,
it.
he's one of them. Looks like he's got two sets of teeth. His teeth so big,
Yeah.
And but I just thought that. And then Tony used to do that prelude up there at the World.
Uh-huh.
And Carl won one of the races, and I'd have laid $1,000 down there if he'd have wrote on the check Eddie Haskell.
Yeah.
I just kept saying, boys, he's got to write Eddie Haskell on that check.
Yeah.
But, there's no personalities in racing no more.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Asphalt.
Yeah.
And in the asphalt racing, and like I said, it's watching paint dry anyway.
Well, even in dirt racing, though, I think there's fewer and fewer. And even in rivalries, too.
But that's,
like
and a lot of that goes back to Lucas and World Outlaws. They don't want that.
Yeah.
I mean, they want it all smooth, and hell, that ain't fun.
Yeah.
I can remember reading the stories of Charlie and Larry Moore. I always liked Larry Moore too. I guess because of the last name. And he raced up Perry County one time. A buddy of mine told everybody up there as my uncle. So I was Larry Moore's nephew there for a long time. But now we went and I don't know if you've ever read Larry Moore's book, but you need to.
Yeah, I haven't read it.
And Earl's is the best.
Yeah.
I mean, Earl's is just. But we went. I guess it was to North South one year. Larry was up there autographing books, but I'd already bought one. And Shay had went over and got one and got him to autograph it. But I took mine with me to get Larry to autograph it.
Yeah.
And his wife was with him there, and Shay said, my husband races him. He said he raced last night. And he said, well, which one was it? And she told him a D8 car. Man, I watched him win that concert there last night, and it was pretty cool, buddy. My heroes talk about my son-in-law.
Yeah, that is.
That's pretty cool, buddy.
No
and
kidding.
Larry's wife went, honey, you married to a race car driver. Lord, you got my sympathy. But I would have loved to been able to been young to even go or travel with like Jack and Charlie and Larry Moore and people like that, because they was legendary. Their personalities was as big as they was.
Yeah.
And but it just blows your mind. But I'm telling you, really need to read that Larry Moore book and the Earl one. And Dave Argerbright wrote both of them.
Oh, okay.
And I got a friend of mine. Somebody told him, asked him who Dave Argerbright was. He said, "You'll never be my friend."
Now there's one that's sharp on the racing.
Yeah.
That got Dave Argerbright.
And I don't know if anybody knows more about dirt racing than James Essex.
No,
Yeah.
I'd say definitely not.
I told James up there at Florence last year, I said, or year before last, I said, James, there's only one thing I don't like about you calling a racing. Man, he got serious. I thought he was mad. Because, I know James, and we ain't buddies, but we cut up when we see each other.
Know each other, yeah.
Yeah, and he kind of looked at me, what's that? I mean, he was dead serious. And I said, before you get tore up, I said, I'd rather listen to you call a race. I don't want to listen to nobody else. Buddy, I've never heard it put that way, but I appreciate that.
That's funny, and yeah, he's one of the best we.
Well, he's just so knowledgeable.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows the racing and the history.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody that knows, just like, it's like he's got so much stored in his brain somehow. I don't see how anybody, just the stuff he can pop off with off the top of his head.
I mean, he knows it.
Yeah.
He just don't, he didn't study it in a book. He knows it.
Yeah.
I remember Dustin won a race, first race he won at Brownstown. And James messaged him like the next day, you're the first Schwartz car that's ever won a race at Brownstown. I mean, who knows that?
Yeah, right.
I mean, who knows that? We didn't know
James
it.
Essex knows
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, James Essex.
I didn't know it. Who else would have known that?
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, he would.
He's a wealth of knowledge.
But they put him in the Hall of Fame, and if there's any broadcaster in dirt ever needed him, it was James.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, Lucas Oil wouldn't be in the series if it wasn't for James Essex.
Yeah.
He started that before it was Lucas Oil.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's
him and some other people
that's right.
there. But now James is just awesome.
Talking about rivalries, though, like I said, it seems like even in racing, locally, regionally, nationally, you don't see them as much. What's the most recent real rivalry that you can remember? What do you think?
In our area?
Yeah, it's anywhere. I mean, our area, and I mean, it's like, used to there was always a rivalry. There was always somebody, even locally, like whether it was at Richmond and the Road Hogs, there was people going at it.
Yeah.
Every class is locally.
There's a lot more rivalries in these Road Hogs and Bombers and then they are in Late Models, because Late Models tear up too much money.
Yeah.
They got too much money. Well, yeah.
They're afraid
I ain't going to tear $20,000 off this thing.
Yeah.
They're afraid to tear it up, to rival too much. But
but
you don't see them. Is the one even recent memory that comes to mind? I don't know. Maybe somebody on Facebook can help us out on the live stream.
We
can see
rivalry you know of today.
Right.
Yeah,
and a lot of locals. You're gonna get a lot of locals going, oh man,
yeah.
My buddy, I hate him.
Yeah. Just who are some rivalries? Because like I said, you don't have it. And back in the day, that's what kept people really coming back and seeing what's going to happen.
One that comes to mind for me a couple years ago was Turbo and Little Bobby Pierce.
Yeah.
They was
That's
a rival.
the last big one I can remember. Bobby.
I mean, it
take
knocked
him
him
out, and he's going after him, show up at the truck stop and whip him.
Right. I mean, that's been a couple years ago.
His mommy burning Turbo's shirt on the internet that night. Oh, that's
so,
good. I mean, that's good for the sport.
I mean that was a big time rivalry and knocked them out of contention. They couldn't race World Racing Group.
We went to first time I went to Charlotte with Jackie, drivers meeting. Can't think of that thing. Seemed like his name was Darrell Christie, I think. I can't remember for sure. I might be completely off on that. Drivers meeting, he said, "The boys, first of all, whoever has the most spectacular wreck we catch on video, give you $100." Pretty. Tim Dome got it because he stood one up on 10 and it just stood there. Seemed like forever. It probably wasn't 10 seconds. And then he said, next thing is we don't want no fighting. We don't condone no fighting. We catch it on TV, $100. Oh, that's pretty cool right there.
Yeah.
And, I've heard used to be a racetrack. I ain't going to say a name because I'm not sure where it was at. But they had the promoter and he used to race. And he told me, he said, "Boys," he said, "I've got several off-duty police officers here as my security. They've been ordered, if you fight, you go to jail."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Now, if you've got pulled and you can get out of jail, you ain't barred. I don't bar nobody."
Yeah.
He said, "If you can get out of jail and come back, you can finish the night. You can run the features if you can get out of jail, but you're going to jail." And no, there was another, and I think it was a track at Tea Garden promoted, I think. And he told them, "Boy, if you think he took you out, you take him out. If that ain't good enough, you go whip his ass after the race is over."
Mm-hmm.
But that's what it used to be.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, yeah.
"Oh, you don't say nothing about him. You don't do nothing. You're your buddy." And, that's racing. That's right now, the racing.
Seems like a lot of it is, too, though. Used to beating and banging used to be a thing. Whereas today, and part of it's probably the money that's involved, too. Or now it's like you can't beat and bang and somebody barely touches somebody and there's a big commotion going on. It seems like more so.
They've got these cars now. They've got so much aero dependent and got so much downforce on them. You don't see a lot of really good racing anymore. Not like on a lot, especially high bank tracks. I think because they're just glued down and there's just so much speed and aerodynamic, you can't get around nobody. And I heard Bloomers the other day saying what could we do to make better racing. He said, put stock rear nose pieces on. That gets them off the ground, slows everybody down. You have a lot better racing.
Yeah.
I never thought about it. Scott's pretty sharp.
He's pretty
He
sharp,
is.
yeah.
He's sharp.
But you touched on that earlier. You're talking about your better racing right now is in your crates.
It is.
Because they are slower
Yeah.
and the racing's more even.
Well, and it just ain't, you can't, it's just so much momentum. And now these cars have got so much horsepower. If you get one sideways, how many times you seen a guy get sideways and pull out of it and not even lose a position, still lead the race? You don't see that in crates because if you get sideways, you're going to get trained.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, you ain't got that horsepower to straighten it back up.
Yeah.
So you got to really, you got to be good with the throttle and got to have pretty good car control.
You got to be smooth and have the ability to drive one, and can't rely on technology and the power behind you to keep it up front.
Of course, we was talking about Jackie there a while ago and what a character he was. He when he wrecked at Charlotte, he broke his foot, and Jackie had his foot crushed when he was a teenage kid in a motorcycle wreck. I mean, he'd been broke all hell. Say he had, I don't know, a couple inches of his thigh had to take out of it. I mean, he was bad.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just a teenager. But when we went to Charlotte and he wrecked down there, he got out of the car and he couldn't walk, so they put him in the ambulance and took him to the hospital and brought him back. And I went over when they brought him back in the ambulance. I went and opened the door up. I said, "You all right? Give me a cigarette and a beer and we'll be fine." He's good. He's good. He said, I said, "Well, what did they say?" He said, "Well, my foot was broke." He said, "I told that doctor, said it's already broke all to hell. How can you tell?" But, I never will forget that car was tore up so bad that night. We took all the body panels off of it and had to put it in the car. He had a stacker, and you had to put it in the bottom of because it was a 2-car up top. It wasn't the bottom. You couldn't put one in the bottom. We took all the body panels off, and they took a backhoe and backed it in. It's the only way you could get it in the trailer, and that's the way we had to get it out. One of his buddies come out there with the backhoe and got it out of the car. But I'm telling you, it had twisted that frame, and you got to give. I think Audi probably builds a safer race car as they are.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dustin might have been dead, or Jackie might have been dead if it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
Got to brag on Audi there.
Yeah.
But now that car was twisted. The right front wheel, I could walk under it. It was twisted
Golly.
I mean, I could walk under the right front.
Just sitting on the
Yeah.
sitting on the
Sitting
ground.
on the
yeah.
ground.
Yeah.
I
Man,
mean-
that's wild for sure. I've never seen one bent up.
But,
and,
you know, racing people, and it's, just like that. I don't know how many people come, hey, remember Randall Chupp, come on, boy, I just live down the road. You need to stay. Come stay with us. We'll help you get home tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So many people, it's just, come on, what do you need? What can we do?
Yeah.
What do we need to help you?
Yeah.
And
A few more things I've got to ask you about before we run out of time. One is we talked about on this road to race day. We want to talk about the past, present, and future of our sport. I think, and I guess I'll just keep this going for as long as I can. But I believe that local, regional racing. We've talked about super late models. I agree with you on that. But I'm talking about as a whole, classes as a whole. I think it can be as good as it ever was.
can.
What do you think? Give me one thing that is in control that can actually be controlled. What's one thing that can happen in our sport? What's one most important thing overall?
Well, if they some way to the money,
Yeah.
if they can control the money, but money buys speed, and that's in dirt racing, horse racing, pig
Yeah.
racing, go-kart racing, lawnmower racing, which is pretty good on the flow. I've
Yeah.
watched some lawnmower racing.
Yeah, it is. I agree. But you're right. Yeah, money's always
the biggest thing, but
Yeah.
it'll always be that way.
Yeah.
But now it's got to the point where the local guy ain't got a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to run crates or bar, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
some of the best racing you ever see in some of these, I guess it shouldn't even call them lower divisions. It's still racing, but
Yeah.
and them first work just as hard. They put just as much time
Exactly.
and a bigger percent of their money in it.
And a lot of time the racing, if you're looking at it from a passing standpoint or whatever, a lot of times in those classes
There's a lot
there's
more passing.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
they really
It's
are.
a better race than
yeah.
that.
It is,
is.
and
It
so
really
many
is.
times. I mean, it truly is, and I think a lot of that comes back to the aero and all that stuff we
Yeah.
talk about in late models these days.
everything.
They don't have that
Right.
in some
Well,
of these
you
other
you
classes.
got, now late model $30,000 set of shocks.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to the oil shocks or something.
Yeah.
But the money is for what they're putting in bombers now or road hogs. You could have run late models 20 or 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's true. We've seen that. We've
Yeah.
talked about that.
Well, how
Yeah.
many people's quitting now? I mean,
Yeah. Money's always been a factor more so today than
well,
ever.
it always
but
will be in racing. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like I say, money buys speed, and
Right.
it does. But back when I got loving it, if somebody was fast, it's because he was smart.
yeah.
And now, if you got enough money, you can buy somebody's knowledge. You can buy
Yeah.
a crew chief. You don't have to be, you don't have to be smart.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Yeah.
you can buy it.
Look how crew chiefs kind of hop around. Whoever's got the biggest pocketbook gets the crew chief.
for the year, yeah, or the
But,
time,
I'll
yeah.
tell you something, too,
Mid-season
and,
jump
in
on.
the technology right now, and I don't know, but I'd like somebody when Jonathan Davenport goes in the Hall of Fame, he will. Kevin Rumley needs to go with him
Mm-hmm.
because
yeah.
that's what put him where he's at.
Yeah,
Now it did. And
yeah.
Rumley's just so smart. I mean,
Yeah.
he just
And I watched him firsthand do a lot of work down there when I went to East Bay. Rumley was all over the place, working on those Longhorn cars and
yeah.
specifically Brandon
he-
Shepard.
I can remember when his dad Leroy, Billy Hicks used to drive for him, the 6 saw blade car. Billy Hicks drove that car. I remember him coming up here and racing. And Leroy Rumley, which that was Kevin's daddy. But he just growed up in it.
Yeah.
And he got to become an engineer, and he worked. I think he said CV Products or something. He's just so, and he's about like Scott was 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Scott
Yeah.
was about 20 years smarter than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I know when he first started coming around, everybody backed it in the corner. It was like this.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he come in driving like that. What in the world? How can he be that fast?
Wait a second, yeah.
But he
Yeah.
changed the sport.
Mm-hmm.
And all the time you hear people talk about Mount Rushmore of racing. To me, or dirt racing. Scott's got to be there because he changed the sport. This wasn't he was good or better.
Yeah.
He changed the sport.
Mm-hmm.
And that's reading, I think, like Earl. Earl changed the sport, Eldor.
Yeah.
He changed the sport.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be
Oh,
people
yeah.
like that, not just know who's the best driver or something
Yeah.
like that.
The
but
people that have had the big
they-
impact.
the
yeah.
biggest impact.
Mhm.
And I don't know if anybody's had and I remember when I was selling Jackie shirts and we'd be somewhere where Scott was at. Boy, I bet you hate to see him pull in. Nope. Glad he's here.
Yeah.
There's more people in the stands, and he's getting 35, and I'm getting 20.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna sell a lot more. And everybody hates him. He's buying one of my shirts. Ain't nobody else there but us. So
Yeah.
anybody that hated him, they bought a Jackie shirt.
Yeah.
But
And that's that's the thing.
and that's why and that's the difference. When you got a chance, you can sell a shirt for $30. You got a chance making some money.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And he's definitely sold a lot of shirts.
Oh, he's been the best marketing guy ever in dirt racing. Best. I don't know anybody that's close.
Well,
Now, Blackjack was pretty good at it back in the day. That was really the only two that I can remember having somebody out actually selling their shirts. A lot of them had them in the pits and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But now,
I'd say Dustin sells a lot of shirts too.
he does
don't
pretty
he? I mean,
good for a regional racer and don't race no more than he does,
Yeah.
He does pretty good. But now Dustin's got a really good personality. And he's a
does,
good
yeah.
person. He don't know a stranger.
No.
And,
that's exactly
That's
right.
But and I tell you what, I've sold a lot of shirts for a lot of different drivers, probably 20 different drivers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Dustin actually enjoys his fans more than anybody I've ever sold shirts for. I mean, he loves it. I think he'd rather sit in the stands with his fans than race
And
sometimes.
talk, yeah,
I
sometimes,
really
yeah.
do. Now,
yeah.
Jackie was really good with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he was awesome with kids.
Yeah.
And I've seen him climb out in another car and put kids in his seat.
Yeah.
And I've always said, he's probably better with kids than he was adults. But now Jackie was really good with kids. And then you got some people that just ain't got personalities,
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
telling
very
you,
true.
it's Dustin definitely has a good personality and always good with the fans and always willing to talk to anybody, like
Yeah.
you said.
Always, yeah.
I tell you
Always
what,
has,
the
yeah.
awards banquet the other night, he was lost for words. I've
What?
never seen him like that. He was dumbfounded. He's just like, it just,
Yeah.
he just didn't know what to say.
Right.
And Dustin ain't real big on people making over him or stuff like that. He don't do it for that. But
Yeah.
he just,
Oh, yeah.
and he don't do it for the money because they spend a whole lot more than they want.
Yeah, I imagine, yeah.
But
I'm sure.
and it's just so hard, and I guess a lot of people think he's got a lot of sponsors, which he's got a lot, but there ain't a whole lot of, there ain't no big money there. There ain't nobody come here's my checkbook, whatever you need, get it.
Mhm.
And it's hard to race without that right now.
Yeah. Oh, it is for sure.
And, and a lot of these people now, it's their daddies or their grandpas putting the money.
Right.
It ain't sponsors, it's family.
Yeah, yeah. It is, and that's
And that's sad.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of the guys you talking about the national series and stuff, they've got corporations
yeah.
behind them,
Yeah.
and it makes it really hard for a
Well, you
local
can't compete,
regional guy to
you know.
make a big difference. Yeah, for sure.
You
So,
got a right front shock, $10,000.
uh-huh.
You try and beat him with a $600 one.
Yeah,
It's hard to do.
yeah. Well, I've got to talk about one other thing. We've got less than 10 minutes left here. I know you said you wasn't good.
I've talked too much.
No, you
No,
ain't.
no.
No, that's
Yeah,
what
that's
we.
exactly
that's
what we wanted.
That's what we.
guarantee you.
I promise you, that's what we come here for. Was to hear you talk. That's what we got. Everybody on here tonight. We said
First, I apologize for everybody's listening.
I'm going to Billy Moore. I
I
told
know
him
I
the other
sound like
night.
an old woman, but now.
No, I told him the other night when we was talking on the phone. I said we've got to come to Graphic Impressions and do a show because I want you to tell everybody else what you just told me, the stories and stuff. It's awesome. But I want to talk about. I know you said you wasn't good at this, but I want to talk about you a little bit too. Graphic Impressions here, your business. I mean, over the and what it means to us to partner with you.
Absolutely.
It means a whole lot to us. It really
I
does.
really appreciate that, and you're giving me a lot more credit than I deserve. But I just love it.
Yeah.
And I love what you all doing. I mean, it gives people. I've seen you all at Rock Castle a couple of times.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I call my brother, hey, you need to tune into this here. As he don't go a lot anymore.
Yeah.
But, it means a lot. And but and I'll tell you something, it just we've been doing this most of my adult life. I was a coal miner for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And and then that I've had hip problems since I was a kid, and I had to quit because my hip had went out. And I tried to figure out a way I could afford to go to races. So that was my way of paying my way to races. It buys my gas and food, and and some of the tracks don't charge you, and some of them want you next kid. But it's, I love it. I mean, I do. I mean, and it's sad.
Well,
in a way, it's good because it's me. It's who I am.
Yeah.
How many years have you been in the T-shirt business?
Well, we've been in the T-shirt business probably 35 years, 36. we've been selling race car shirts about 32.
Uh-huh.
You know, I think the first shirts I ever sold to a racetrack was David Dixon's. And I'm pretty sure at the last door before he retired. David passed away there a couple of years ago, and I hated that because he was one of them. He was a character too. And then I think the second bunch we done was Paul Harris. That was the two we started selling at the racetracks.
Oh, okay.
And I was selling them. I laid them on the trunk of my car.
Yeah.
You know, I would go to Prairie King Speedway and lay them on the trunk. That's the way I sold them. And then Thunder Ridge opened up, and you could set up inside over there and sell.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I miss that place.
Yeah.
That's a tragedy that place not making it.
Yeah.
But
It's cool.
you know, and then you get a T-shirt trailer, and you just kind of go from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get hooked up with Jackie, and Jackie kind of got me on a national deal, because he started running so good there in 04 and 05, and then we start selling at Eldor and places like that, and going to racetracks. I'd have never went to East Bay if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And,
It
It
is
really
cool.
is.
But it just like I say, me and Jackie, he was more like my brother than a friend for over 20 years, and then we kind of drifted apart there at the end. But we were still buddies. We'd talk to each other every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there wasn't no hard feelings anywhere, nothing like that. But love him, love his family.
Well,
Sure do. I love his nephews and his sons, and
yeah.
sure do.
Well, I'm really glad that you're still a big part of this sport, and just the last few years
Well,
for you.
it's been personal. It's been tough. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I went in kidney failure. It's been 9 years ago now.
Yeah.
I was on dialysis 5. Thank God and good people. I got a kidney transplant in December
Mm-hmm.
of 08.
Yeah.
Or let's see, or 18. I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
December made 5 years since.
Yeah.
And boys, I'm gonna tell you something. If you all are the sorry, you feel like you're the sorriest piece of crap there was, and you want to do something good, sign your card.
Mhm.
Sign your driver's license or a donor card.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. Now, the person that gave me one, I have no idea who they are or what they was. Nothing.
Yeah.
They died a hero. I promise you, they died a hero.
Yeah.
And you don't never know who it is. Somebody gave my daughter one.
Yeah.
And, and then seemed like you're just starting to kind of get over that a little bit and get back in the swing. And then Noah's Ark was floating around again here. It got 6 foot in this building. And I don't know if Eastern Kentucky, we're pretty poor area in Kentucky. And Kentucky's one of the poorest states in the nation.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we ever survive it. I mean, you can't. And I ain't complaining about 6 foot of water in it. It seems like a lot. You go on down 476, which is the road goes by here on into Breathitt.
Yeah.
Water was 75 foot deep in the road.
Man.
In the road.
It's crazy.
Just
I mean, you can't.
you can't hardly imagine
And the
it
people
even
that's lost family, my
Mhm.
girlfriend's family had a loss.
Yeah.
And you just, you can't. There's no way to explain it. And then the people, the way they pull together.
Mhm.
I mean, we ain't got much here, but we got each other. And I'll be
Yeah.
damned if they ain't some good people in Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah.
Right. That's
all.
exactly
I'm
right.
telling you what, buddy, it is unbelievable. And racing people.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll tell you what, I had, and I don't know, and I know I'm going to leave some people out, but Stacy Marler, Mikey's wife,
Mhm.
and Mike Hayes at Sales for Jimmy got together and raised money for me at Florence. And when you got less than $100 in the bank and they hand you a sack full of money, I mean, I went out there in tears.
Man,
Yeah.
I imagine.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm telling you, it broke. I didn't know if I was a Muscat's get up there on.
Oh yeah.
And, and they hand you a big old sack full of money. It's like, man, I got a chance.
Yeah.
But no, it still chokes me up pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it just.
I
But
imagine.
that's where racing people is.
Mhm.
I mean, if Mikey run over my dog, I'd love him and Stacy today.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Mike Hayes the same way. I mean, and Jimmy and them. And the people just come around, Remember one guy come around, he gave me $20, and he said, "Ben, I know it ain't much, but I'm a working man, I can't afford much."
Yeah.
I said, "Buddy, when you ain't got nothing," I said, "if I got $10,000 to make 20 ain't much. When I've got nothing, 20's a lot."
Yeah.
20.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and that means a lot.
I never even thought it at the time. Rick Eshelman come around there, and that was right before he died.
Yeah.
Maybe, it wasn't long.
Mhm.
He come around and he said, "Bill, I didn't know they was doing this," and he handed me a 20. He said, "If I knowed this, I'd have brought you some more." He said, "That's all I got on me."
Really.
And I thought,
This-
and then, 6 months later or
Right.
something, he's
yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
And under the circumstances,
Just on.
Right.
That's
racing people, it just,
we're a big family.
It's different. It is. It's
Yeah,
and
it
we're
is.
just like family. Damn, we'll
Yep.
fight and scratch and throw rocks at each other. And next day we'll get up and eat breakfast together. But
Right.
You're exactly right. Yeah.
That's
At the
exactly
end
right.
of the day, it's a true family. It's one
it
of those
really
things
is.
that
It really
you
is.
got to be a part of it to understand it.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot of people
But-
don't understand us.
they don't get us at all.
They
but-
think we're crazy because we do love this
Well,
sport.
it kind of is. Like
Yeah.
I said, it's about a sickness.
It
Yeah.
is.
Or,
It
you know,
is.
it's a mental disease anyway. If
It's
Yeah.
an addiction.
it's
Racing is.
daggone sure addiction.
yeah, but
Ain't no doubt. I mean, you know, I've took my last nickel, went to the races on it.
I have too. You can ask my wife. We were in we went much out of high school. We went to I probably shouldn't be telling this. We went to the cash advance and borrowed the money to go to Lake Cumberland Speedway one. I mean, we was maybe a year or something out of high school, but yeah, just to
Boy,
go
and I
to
tell
a
you
race.
what, it's
it
so
pro-
funny out there, and I'm pretty sure it was you. Now, your wife wasn't a big Dustin fan, was she?
I have to be honest. We were big Victor Lee fans.
Well, I know,
which
that's what I was
yeah,
saying.
but I like Dustin too, though.
I mean, you come over there, and I mean, it's cool. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying, this
we
is
would
the way
laugh
it was.
about it, yeah.
He come over there, and I think I give him a T-shirt. I said, "She want one?" Nope, she don't want one.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
And that was when the big Dustin
Yeah.
and Victor feud
Right,
was
yeah,
going
right.
on
yeah.
too, you know.
Well, I liked them
But and
both,
what made
which
that,
was fun.
you know what
yeah.
made that so funny though, was Dustin growed up a Victor fan. That was
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
hero. But Victor Lee was his hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but now, you know, Victor's helped race car driver, buddy. They ain't no taking that away from him.
Yeah, I feel like because I liked Dustin,
But
and
I always
Victor,
thought that was so funny. Well, you know, he's a Dustin fan, she ain't. You know.
which I was probably
That'd have been a
like
divorce in a
like
lot
at
of families,
At
I'll
that
tell you.
time, though, you couldn't be. That was the rivalry
yeah,
then.
That
well, like I
was-
was telling you, the Jackie and the
Yeah.
Boggs
Right.
and Conley. That's what you couldn't like one and
No,
like the other.
you couldn't like both.
I
I
had
think
a-
I'm the only one in the stands that
I
liked
was,
them
I
both.
was the same way
I
when
mean,
we was
it's
at Portsmouth.
really.
Had a buddy of mine. He was a big Conley fan, especially he loved RJ. And he come up there one day and had a 71C cap on.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Scott, you care staying here a little bit? I need to run to the bathroom. No, I come back and people, what the hell are you doing in there with a Conley hat on?
Yeah.
But
Like
I tell you the best thing on the Conleys and Boggs, I love the Conleys, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Damas lent Jackie a motor to go to Eldora with one time. And I knowed he was doing it long enough, early enough, that we always printed new shirts to take to Eldora with us. So we put Conley Trucking on the quarter pound.
Oh, okay.
And it was on Jackie's car, too. We put Conley Trucking on the quarter. I went to Southern, Ohio. Was the first time I had the shirts out. Had them hanging up, and you wouldn't believe the reactions.
Oh, I could
I
imagine.
mean, you wouldn't believe it. There was one girl come over, and she said, Billy, I love you. I'd like to have one of them shirts. I've had every Jackie shirt you've ever done. I won't buy that shirt.
Just because it
I
had
won't buy
Conley
nothing.
Trucking
I won't
on
buy
it.
nothing with Conley's on it. And one guy come over there had called his girlfriend. I swear it's on there. It's on there. I swear it's on there.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was like, and finally that girl come back. You know I got to have one of them shirts.
Yeah.
She said, if you got some duct tape, I can stick over that Conley truck.
Yeah.
So I stuck some duct tape over it, and she bought the shirt. But
Well,
now
I-
that's just how the rivalry
Yeah.
was, you know.
Like the Hatfields and McCoys.
Yeah, it was.
Them two
Yeah.
was.
Well,
Yeah.
I always thought it was fun, and I was probably the only one that ever do it. But I always thought it was fun to put a Linville shirt on and go over to Victor's
Oh,
pit,
that happened a lot
and
of
then
other-
and then go to put
Right.
a Victor shirt on and go to the Linville
But you
pit
know,
and
and I'll
get
tell
their
you something,
reaction.
a
It was
lot
just,
of race car drivers, some of them don't like that.
oh, I know.
Some of them really gets offended over that.
Oh yeah.
But I'll tell you, the best I ever seen a driver, and he wasn't somebody I just barely know and just spoke to him maybe once or twice, was Jeep Van Marmer. He's the best I ever seen in his T-shirt trailer trying to sell shirts. I mean, he is unbelievable.
Really?
Cutting up and going on, and anybody had a Scott Blumko shirt on, I'll trade you one of mine for that if you'll take it off.
Well,
I mean, it's all the time something like
we
that.
telling stories. I got to tell my first trip to Eldora for the World 100. I went with my cousin, Tommy Ray, Big Tommy, and another buddy, Jughead. Well, we all had Blomquist shirts on and sat right there underneath the covered bleachers right behind the flag stand, and they was probably 20 Jeep Van Wormer fans around us, and I thought we was going to have to fight our way out of there because them two hated each other. And I was like, I'm not backing down because I was a huge Bloomquist fan. I always was.
If I'm big as you, I'd back down anyway.
Right.
I know.
But, I mean, it was just, it was just, you know, kind of one of them deals. They loved him.
I sat there that night and watched him because our trailers were sitting across from each other. And it was just like, man, this guy's cool.
Yeah.
And I went over and then, went over and talked to him a few minutes and just told him, I said, I love the way you treat your fans and cut up with. And he thanked me. And then Shay, he had some purple shirts. And Shay loves purple. Mm-hmm. So she wanted to go over and get one. I said, well, go over. And she went on. He'd seen who was in the trailer and stuff like that. And she paid him for it to come back over. And he come back over and he said, I hated to charge her for that. And he said, here's your money back. I just couldn't give it to her in front of everybody else.
Right.
But he brought her money. He brought her money
that's
back.
cool.
That's pretty cool.
But I mean,
I'm a Jeep Van Wormer fan for that, for no other reason.
But see, Jeep, I've never talked to him, but you know him on that level, and you watched him in action with his fans.
Oh,
so,
I've never seen nobody that good with their fans.
That's awesome.
Because he was just cutting up and going on and hollering. And
he always had a cool car.
Yeah.
I mean, he always had,
the big
especially his Eldora schemes was always, everybody was waiting what's Jeep going to have on the car this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's his name? Gerald something Van Wormer or something like that. I think his real name's Gerald or something.
I think it is, yeah.
But where you get Jeep at? And some of these people, I've always asked drivers, for me, the new driver, where you get your number at.
Mm-hmm.
And had one boy tell me he was in jail, and that was the first three numbers. That was the first three numbers on his jail. I'm telling you, that's the honest truth. He said he was in jail in West Virginia, and the first three numbers was the Kentucky code of his jail.
Yeah, that'd be.
I mean, they said, and I remember I asked Blackjack, where'd you get the 4 or the B4 at? He said, I was always a street racer, like them street outlaws. That's what Jack was, a street racer. Mm-hmm. He never got in a late model till he was 28 years old.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
And he
that.
straight raced. And he said, we went to the dirt track one night, and this guy had a car for sale, and it was number 34. Mm-hmm. He said, so we bought it and wanted to race that night, didn't have time to get lettered, so we took a piece of duct tape and made the 3 a B. So it was B4, and he said that stuck out pretty good with Boggs. That's the way I kept it.
Did.
And some of them's got some awesome. Most of them, it's my daddy's number, or my grandpa's number, the year I graduated from high school, or my football number. It's always something like that.
Right.
But it's always, there's always a good story about every time it's a good. So and so was my favorite driver, And but some of them it's hilarious. And Rooster comes from when Dustin was a little boy. He's been named that wasn't his racing name. That was his nickname when he was a little boy. And his daddy said he hopped around the yard like a little chicken, so he called him Rooster all the time.
Yeah, I like that one. Well, I want to end with this, and we've got to wrap this thing up because we got to go get something to eat. We've got plans.
We're starved to death.
We'll go eat right now.
Billy's going to show us something good to eat. But we were talking about you, and you got us back off topic and got us talking about other people.
I didn't really want to talk
about
yeah, you done that on purpose.
I know, he done it on purpose. But I want to
I'll
say,
tell you anything you want to know, but it's kind of embarrassing sometimes.
I know it is.
I will embarrass myself.
I know. But I just want to say one other thing. Everything you've been through, it really is just so cool to see that you've built back here, and you're such a huge part of this. I told you, I said, I really wanted you to do our T-shirts.
Thing, first coming back, people tell me, how you tough? And I'm not. That's good Lord.
Yeah.
Really is. That's where that come from. It wasn't me.
Right.
Yeah.
And my daddy didn't haunt me if I didn't say that, because he was pretty awesome. But, we just blessed. I mean, that's all they are to it. We blessed.
Yeah.
Blessed to be where I'm at, where I'm sitting right now. Mm-hmm. Between two legends.
Yeah, two legends.
I ain't been between these legends since Charlie and Hewitt.
One future Hall of Famer over here at World Wide West. But no, in all seriousness, I've got to tell on you, because Billy, you're a good dude too. Don't
I don't know about that.
You are, because
yes, you are.
We decided I said Billy's gonna do our T-shirts this year. We called you up, and Billy gave us just and I'm gonna talk specifics, but just an awesome deal
Yes.
on our shirts. And then he texted me the other day, and Wes, he tried to give us the T-shirts. He misunderstood me on something I meant. I said, "No way, I want to pay you. It's worth it to me to have you do it."
You all been.
And
I think what y'all doing is awesome, and I know you're just getting started at it. And I hope you get big as John Boy and Billy.
I hope we
so
do too.
I hope we do too. Yes, absolutely.
But we think it's awesome, for what you've done throughout the years, and
Well,
impact on racing.
We've done it, and we've always tried to help people. I've never tried to break people up. I mean, I ain't saying I give you a much better deal than I did anybody else. I try to treat people fair.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
I know
sure.
most of the people I deal with ain't got $1 million budgets.
Mm-hmm.
They go to work and go cash their check and go to the racetrack.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love doing it. I like being around it. I like racing. I like people.
Yeah.
And I'm probably one of the few people in the country could say that and tell you the truth.
Yeah.
But I like most people. I don't like everybody. But I like racing people, and I've always got a soft spot. We sat there and talked to that guy at that concert. He was racing, and we went and eat this morning. And that guy was asking us where he's from, and we was talking there, and then he said he sponsored a race car there. So we got something to talk
I always
about.
talk
Always.
racing.
Now,
It
she
don't
like
matter.
it. I think she gets tired of it. But
I could imagine. I know.
Yeah,
I don't
Garth
blame her either. But
I don't
hey, you know
either.
what?
I don't
It's
either.
it's
I'm-
It don't
always
matter
good
where
to
I
talk
go, I
about.
talk racing.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
saying
that's right. You will find a way to talk racing some way, somehow.
I tell you what, I went to, and it's just weird how things come out. I went to where my dad was pastor of the church at there first of last month. Guy comes over there. Dirk Fisher, and say, man, I live up there side Dirk. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Which Dirk's a cool guy too.
Yeah,
I
he
mentioned
is.
Dirk's one of the men, in racing, they ain't a whole lot of loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's not.
Yeah.
Dirk has been as loyal to me as any customer I've ever had.
That's awesome.
I mean, it is him, and I got to give Tony Halbert over at Twin Bridge the same way. But Dirk, I don't know if you noticed, last part of after we got flooded, Dirk didn't have no stickers on the right side of his car. He said, because I won't put no belts of stickers on my car.
He just said, man, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
He
ain't
said,
it?
when you get
Yeah.
back in business, you call me and you can later it.
Mhm.
Nobody else's stickers going on my car.
That's loyalty
And
right
that's
there.
pretty bad when you got a white car with a big red quarter panel on it.
Yeah.
It looked bad on him, but it sure made me feel good, I'll tell you.
Well, and I'm sure you talked about that. I'm sure with the age of technology, the internet, all that stuff, I'm sure that just like most other business, it probably makes it hard on your business as
the
well.
internet-
I mean, does it
internet's hard on
probably? Yeah.
I guess they're making a lot of money, but it makes it hard on everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
And the prices, the way stuff's got anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Shirts has went up over $1 a shirt in the last 2 years, and inks is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, they've almost doubled.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's hard, and you see people, and I hate to see these racetracks go out and everybody this and that. Well, boys, that's kind of the way things are right now.
Yeah.
And everybody needs the support to stay going.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
do.
they do.
And that's something, and I probably going to get in trouble on this, and I'm going to shoot my mouth off. But I think Flow Racing is killing these local racetracks. And I love it. I got a subscription. I've had it ever since they started. I watch it every weekend if I ain't home. But now a lot of these local racetracks, it's hurting them. I'll go to 411 there next weekend because Dustin's going. If he wasn't going, I'd probably be at home watching Flow race.
Yeah.
That would have hurt them.
Yeah.
I mean, and it hurts them, and I don't mean to put them down because they're doing a good thing.
Right.
Racing's bigger than it ever was because of partially what they're doing. But now, boys, it's making it rough on these local racetracks, now I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And then the people say, well, the purses ain't going up in the cost. Well, the cost is going up.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance going up. Gas is going up. You imagine what it takes to roll a racetrack in for 24 hours with 4 or 5 vehicles out on
Right.
the daggone racetrack.
Yeah.
And especially a big track like Florence. What's that costing him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the best thing we can do on a local level is every chance we get support
Whatever
each
you
other.
need to do, you
know,
do. I mean,
if there's something we can do to support each other, local businesses here, and it's just
we got a lot of racetracks in Kentucky right now.
Yeah.
mhm.
There's a lot. I can be. I ain't in Sutton County, but I could probably be to 10 within 2.5 hours right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
And some of them, like I say, I growed up to ice. I hope that guy makes it. I really do.
Yeah.
It's home.
Yeah.
20 minutes, I can be there.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I can be home in 3 hours after I stop meeting and talk to somebody.
Right, yeah.
Josh knows all about
Right.
that. Josh knows all about that with me.
That's
He said,
exactly-
I hate riding with him.
You know,
I don't ride with him
you know
to the
that's
racetrack
that's
anymore.
why
I
Dustin
don't.
and Shay gets along because I'm like this and Dustin's like that, and she expects it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well.
She's used
She
to
knows
it.
she's
yeah.
used to it. You
That's
know?
right. Yeah, she's definitely used to it. Well, if you need signs, graphics, race car wrap, T-shirts, anything when it comes to graphics, reach out to Billy.
Boys,
He'll take care of you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate what you all do, and appreciate allowing me to. I don't know. I hope I ain't made too big a fool out of them.
No,
Probably killed your ratings. You probably had a few turn out first.
no.
You may not have nobody on there right now. But
Listen, we haven't had a single person drop off. I've been watching it the whole time.
Well, that's
we've
good to
kept
know.
everybody on here.
That's
Now
good
I've
to
seen
know.
a lot of comments here. I'll just let's see, just real
if
quick.
it's too bad, let it go.
No,
Just delete that one.
let's see. Let's see
If
some.
anybody says I sound like an old woman, delete it.
Find some. Let's see. I've seen some here. Let's see. Billy Moore is a walking dirt track encyclopedia.
I don't know about that. I've loved it ever since I can remember.
Billy is the man. How about that?
Yeah,
that's
that's a
a
good one.
pretty good one right
Somebody
there.
don't know, man.
I've saw some. I've seen a bunch, but they've all disappeared on me. But there've been a lot of people
That's
talking
good.
about how much you.
That's good. Well, I
mean to 'em
hope
and-
it works out for you all. I mean, I want to see you do good because I think you're doing a good thing.
Yeah.
And dirt racing in Eastern Kentucky is really struggling. You know, these tracks can't be making a whole lot of money. But, you know, you see some pretty good crowds, you know, Burnside and
Yeah.
Burnside's doing really good, or seem to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know people's money and wouldn't predict it, but hope Brandon does good. He's always been good to me. Got a lot of respect for him. He's done a really good job down there. And, you know, these other tracks, these new ones are getting going. And like Rock Castle, I love that place down there.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
we just got to
Me too.
say, we need butts in the seats at all of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
Every
we
time
do.
the gates
Yeah.
open,
That's
go
right.
support a
It's the biggest
local
thing,
track
man.
wherever, you know.
Man, I sure like Rock Castle. I remember I went down there when that track first opened up as a dirt track. You know, it was a dirt track, and then it was an asphalt track, and then he put it back to dirt. And, you know, I don't know. Now, Joe Deeney built that track. You know Joe Deeney from
Yeah.
Denton Bar? Joe's the one built that track.
So, yeah, you tell me that.
Yeah,
I was
he
thinking
sure was.
somebody
He's
told me that. It was
Well, I
you.
didn't know it.
Well,
Joe
yeah.
always calls me Benny Feltner. I got to mention Benny, so that's a good way to get it in. But where I'm from Hazard, he called me Benny Feltner. Every time he called Shay Hillbilly.
Oh, is that right?
Hillbilly and Benny Feltner. But you know Joe, he's a cracker jack too. But you know, I hope a lot of people, and I'll tell you something a lot of fans don't understand. They always say, you know, why don't they work together? Well, if I'm making money on Saturday night and the guy down the road ain't making no money on Friday, I ain't giving up my Saturday night so he can make money. I ain't going. It's tough enough anyway, and it's hard for
It's a
tracks
tough
to work.
business.
It's a really hard for tracks. I mean, they shouldn't schedule on top of each other. That's not good.
Yeah.
But now I'm gonna give up my Saturday night so he can make more money. I ain't gonna do that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. You know, if you work for Pepsi, you can't give up your job for a guy at Coke won't.
No, that's
I mean, you
exactly
can't do
right.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I always say Walmart ain't going to shut down for Target.
No.
And that's just the way it is. Here's another one. Nicest man ever. He gave my autistic little girl a Linville T-shirt at Brush Creek.
I remember them. Them's good people right
Yeah.
there, buddy.
Somebody else says I
I tell
always
you what,
walk up to Billy's
that
trailer.
Lady and that little girl caused me to cry.
Did they?
They sure did.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad they remembered that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am. I love that. I really do.
Yeah, Billy. Yeah, so just a bunch of them. But man, I tell you what, it's been fun to sit here and just talk
Well, I
racing
didn't
with
mean
you.
to look like a big baby, but
No, man,
I'm
no,
hungry.
that's what.
Let's-
Yeah.
sugar's dropping.
He's
What
like-
it is.
Well, let's wrap this thing up. But it
Sounds
does.
good.
It's been so much fun
It
to
is.
be
Well,
on
y'all
here with
welcome
you.
back anytime.
Yeah.
If I'm at the racetrack, you know, I'll try not to talk too bad or tell something I shouldn't tell, but I might.
You just
Yeah.
being ornery like
Yeah.
Jackie.
Yeah, just being honest.
Yeah, if you see Billy at the racetrack, stop and
Well,
talk
just
to
stop
him.
and talk.
I always
you
do.
don't, You don't have
Yeah.
to buy a shirt, even if you don't like me or don't like Dustin. You'd like Shay if you met her.
Yeah,
But you know,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate what y'all done. Appreciate you being here. I mean,
Well, we appreciate you.
it's really been a lot. It's been therapeutic. I mean,
yeah.
you know, this flooding stuff's been tough. I mean, it's wore on me pretty hard.
I imagine.
I mean, we lost
Well, it's
everything
wore-
we had, and we're back probably 80%. We still can't do any more embroidery work. I can't afford a new embroidery machine.
Yeah.
And if you want to donate, $57,000, anybody wants to donate?
Man,
like
that's a
Cousin
lot.
Eddie.
That's
How
a
much
lot.
you
Yeah,
need?
that's right.
How much you need there? $57,000.
Right. So it has been tough, but good to see
Well,
you.
I'm glad. I mean, I'm blessed. I mean, I don't mean to whine and cry over things, but I'm blessed.
Yeah.
The people I know and the friends I've had, and my family, my new girlfriend over there is freaking awesome.
Hey, there you go.
Makes me proud of her every day.
You had to get that in.
Yeah, had to put that in there.
I did. She might have washed dishes more. She is awesome.
That's right. Well,
Good deal.
this has been a fun thing, man. One of the best shows we've ever had. I knew it would be because I know Billy Moore, man. I'm telling you, I knew it would be.
Because I don't never dread talking about racing, going to races.
Yeah.
Ask her. I mean,
I
we
know.
watch too many races.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't I?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So,
it's awesome. I mean, I love it. Love the people. I mean, I don't know if there's better people anywhere than most racing people.
no.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Y'all made my week.
Well, good.
And it'll be a good week till I get to 411.
Oh.
And we'll see how it goes from there.
I'm glad.
411's tough. I mean, I love
Yeah.
that place there, but it's tough.
Yeah, it is. It's tough.
I
well,
love that track.
I'm glad we could make your week. You've made ours too. I can promise you that.
Sure
It's been so much fun.
Well, I tell you what, I hope I ain't left nobody out or sure didn't mean to talk to so many racing people that I look up to, and I just feel blessed.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do. I feel
Yeah.
blessed y'all being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Y'all made my week. I promise you.
So do we. That's
We're
awesome.
blessed to be here.
And
Yeah.
boys, y'all welcome back anytime. If there's anything I can ever do, holler at me. If there's somebody you need to talk to, need a phone number,
Yeah,
I got a big mouth. So
yeah, yeah. We'll be hollering at you for sure.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Well,
yeah.
this has been a lot of fun, guys. Thank you all for tuning in with us and watching another episode. We'll have another one of these Road to Race Day episodes coming up here, and before we know it, it's going to be April. And it's going to be even better. We're going to be at the racetrack here in Kentucky.
Tell you what you need to do is you need to make a trip up here when they have this race day out here.
Yeah, somebody
You
sent
need
us
to
some
come and
message
do
about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
They'll be-
we got somebody else is asking us tell us
started
about
here.
that.
Oh, okay.
It started here. The last one, it just got too big for me, and Steve and Herschel has done, and they're racing people. Steve Stallings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, they're
Yeah,
racing
they
people.
reached out.
And what Steve has done down there is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're raising $35,000-$40,000 in a day
That's awesome.
That is-
and
It
giving
really
to
is.
sick kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they
yeah.
raise, they do a thing through that I don't know how many truckloads of food they've took to hospice.
Wow.
I mean, it's unbelievable,
Yeah.
buddy,
That's really
what
cool.
they're doing, and you really need to, and you won't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something, and I don't like to brag on myself, but it did start here,
Yeah.
but it was the racing people done it.
Yeah.
The racing people done it.
We'll have
awesome.
to check that
Yeah.
out.
But
for
you
sure.
need to, you really
Yeah.
do. I hope to see you all. If you need anything, holler at me.
Yeah, we'll post it on here too. All right, guys, it's
Okay.
been a lot of fun. This
Thank
has
you all.
been Dirt Racing in the Bluegrass Live. We'll see you in April at the races.
Thank you all.
I talked too much. I know. I'm sure you had points you